Cold Case Project back again today, and we are going to discuss the case of Walker County Jane Doe. Now, Walker County Jane Doe is going to refer to a young girl who was found on November the 1st of 1980 in Huntsville, Texas. The case is still to this day cold, and I will be running through this case with you over the next few minutes. As usual, as I always like to say, if you enjoy the content I share on this channel, please make sure to like and subscribe. The content I like to share on here just hits these so many cases out there that they occur, they exist, but they just disappear. And without as many shows as we used to have 20, 30 years ago covering cases like this, we really don't have the same stuff out there talking about these missing persons cases, these cold murder cases. So, once again, if you enjoy the content I share on this channel, give me a like. I try to share content every day or each and every other day. Give me a comment. Give me some of your thoughts on this case as well, too. So, with all this said, let's dive in. Now, on November the 1st, 1980, the nude body of a girl estimated to be between the ages of 14 and 20 was discovered by a truck driver driving past the Sam Houston National Forest. She was lying face down in the grass on the shoulder of the road, 2 miles north of Huntsville. Now, the body was found, and the trucker called police around 9:30 that morning. The body had been deceased for approximately 6 hours, thus placing her time of death to be around 3:30 a.m. A rectangular brown pendant containing a smoky blue or brown glass-colored stone on a thin gold chain necklace was found around her neck. Her ears were pierced, although no earrings were found in her ears at the crime scene. High-heeled red leather sandals with light brown straps, which investigators would subsequently discover the girl had been carrying throughout that prior evening, were also recovered from the scene, although the remainder of her clothing was missing. Walker County Jane Doe was approximately 5 feet 6 inches and between 105 and 120 pounds. As described by the Harris County Medical Examiner, she was well nourished. She had hazel eyes and light brown hair, approximately 10 inches in length. Her fingernails were bare, and her toenails were painted pink. Distinctive features upon her body were a vertical scar measuring 1.5 inches at the edge of her right eyebrow, and the fact that her right nipple was inverted. Due to the general condition of her body, including overall health, nutrition, and excellent dental care she'd received throughout her life, Walker County Jane Doe may have hailed from a middle-class household. The cause of death was certified by the coroner to be asphyxia due to ligature strangulation, possibly inflicted via pantyhose fragments, which, along with her underwear, were found inside her vaginal cavity. The pantyhose and underwear had likely been placed inside the girl's vaginal cavity in an attempt to prevent her body from bleeding as she was transported to the site of her discovery, as the girl had been sexually assaulted with a large blunt instrument, both vaginally and anally, and these acts had occurred prior to her death. It is unknown if the girl had actually been conventionally raped, as no biological evidence attesting to this form of assault was discovered, either at the crime scene or in subsequent coroner examinations of the body. Furthermore, the girl had also been a recipient of several beatings prior to her death, which inflicted bruises, cuts on her lips, and her right eyelid being extensively swollen. In addition, the right shoulder of her body had a deep and visible bite mark. Following the witness appeals, extensive media accounts regarding this murder, numerous individuals informed investigators they saw a teenage girl matching her description within 24 hours prior to her murder. These individuals include the manager of a South End Gulf station, two employees at the Hitch and Post truck stop, all of whom described this girl as wearing blue jeans, a dirty yellow pullover, and a white knit sweater with noticeably large pockets, which extended past her waist. This girl had been carrying red leather strapped high heel sandals. According to the first witness, the girl, appearing somewhat disheveled, had arrived at the South End Gulf Station at approximately 6:30 p.m. on October the 31st. This location, she'd exited a blue 1973 or 1974 Chevy Caprice with a light colored top, which was being driven by a white male. The witness stated the girl had asked for directions to the Texas Department of Corrections Ellis Prison Farm. After receiving directions, the girl had left the Gulf Station on foot and was last seen walking north on Sam Houston Avenue. Same girl was later seen at Hitch and Post truck stop alongside Interstate 45, where she again requested directions to the Texas Department of Corrections Ellis Prison Farm, claiming a friend was waiting on her at this location. In response, a waitress drew a map providing directions to the prison farm, which she handed to the girl. This waitress informed the investigators that she suspected the girl was a runaway, and that in their brief conversation, the girl informed her she was from either Rockport or RNS Pass, Texas. The girl had also claimed to this waitress that she was 19 years old. When the waitress had expressed doubts as to her claimed age and further asked if her parents knew her whereabouts, the girl reportedly replied, "Who cares?" Now, the next bit of information we have is from the Ellis Prison Farm. Both inmates and employees of the Ellis Prison Farm were canvassed and shown mortuary photos of the victim, although none were able to identify her. Investigators also traveled to both Rockport and Arkansas Pass districts to converse with law enforcement personnel regarding any missing females whose physical descriptions matched that of the victim. Staff at schools in both districts were also contacted by investigators for the same purpose, as numerous Texas high school books were searched for any female known to be missing whose physical features matched her description. All these lines of inquiry failed to bear fruit, and no subsequent missing person reports pertaining to a young Caucasian female have ever been matched to the victim. Despite the fact police and media appeals in the towns of Rockport or Arkansas Pass to discover the identity of Walker County Jane Doe failed to produce any fruitful leads as to her identity, it's believed the girl may have indeed hailed from the general region, she stated to the waitress at the Hitch and Post truck stop the evening prior to her murder. On January the 16th, 1981, in Walker County, Jane Doe was buried in the Addicts Addition at Oakwood Cemetery. Her burial followed an open casket funeral, and the cemetery in which she was buried is located within the town where her body had been found. She's buried beneath a tombstone donated by Morse Memorials. The inscription bears upon their headstone, "Unknown white female, November 1, 1980. Now, fast forward 18 years, and the remains of Walker County Jane Doe were exhumed in 1999. In order to conduct further forensic examination of her remains, including obtaining a DNA sample from her body, this second forensic examination of her body revised likely that Walker County Jane Doe to be between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. We move forward 16 more years to November the 5th of 2015. And the case was officially reopened by the Walker County Sheriff's Office. DNA testing has also been conducted into the red high-heeled leather sandals found at the crime scene. The result of this testing remain undisclosed. Local police departments have also actively monitored other missing persons reports for potential matches to the victim. Investigators have also reached out to the public via various online websites, news media, and television networks in hopes of generating further leads of the inquiry, all of which to date have been unsuccessful in identifying either Walker County Jane Doe or her murderers. Several forensic facial reconstructions have been created to illustrate the estimations of how Walker County Jane Doe may have looked in life. In 1990, forensic portrait artist Karen Taylor created a composite drawing of Walker County Jane Doe, in which she incorporated an estimation as to the appearance of the necklace she had been wearing. An investigator at the Walker County Sheriff's Office had also created a facial rendering of the victim. Karen Taylor is also included in her case book, Forensic Art and Illustration, in which she confessed to having experienced difficulties in creating her sketch of the victim, as the only frontal photograph made available to her at the time was one taken after the victim had received extensive reconstructive cosmetic treatment at the Huntsville Funeral Home in order for facial reconstruction to be sufficient to be viewed in an open casket funeral. Taylor further explained that a scaled photograph of the girl's necklace was not made available to her, and she was forced to guess the size of this item of jewelry for facial reconstruction she produced. In more recent years, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children has constructed and released two facial reconstructions of how they believe Walker County Jane Doe may have appeared in life. The first facial reconstruction was released in 2012. The second, shortly after her 35th murder anniversary. The second facial reconstruction was created with the aid of studying mortuary photographs taken of the victim. Other theories to who Walker County Jane Doe could be. One is Kathleen. In December of 2015, a photograph surfaced of a white female, approximately 14 years old and 5 feet 4 inches in height, and whose other physical characteristics closely matched those of Walker County Jane Doe. The girl depicted in the image is a possible runaway named Kathleen or Kathleen, one spelled with a C and one spelled with a K, who may have hailed from Corpus Christi. This photo emerged as a brother and sister reviewed a private collection of images taken of themselves, then aged 12 and 10, at a motel in Beeville, Texas, the summer of 1980. These siblings had encountered this girl at the motel in question and recalled both that she may have lived with a couple at the time the image was taken, and that she had expressed her wish to meet a friend from Sugarland Prison. Both of these siblings sincerely believe that Kathleen may actually be Walker County Jane Doe. A photograph of this girl, plus additional details of her physical characteristics, and circumstances surrounding the caption of this image currently exist upon the Facebook page Who Was Walker County Jane Doe. If you look down below in the link in the description, you'll find this as well. This image and details pertaining to its caption are accompanied by appeals to the public to help provide the girl's full name and origins, all of which can be anonymously submitted to law enforcement should the sender wish to do so. Primarily, appeals are made to any individual who attended any elementary or middle school within Corpus Christi in the 1960s or 70s who may recognize the girl in the photograph. Kathleen was most likely born in 1966, although her precise year of birth is unknown. Some individuals have theorized that Walker County Jane Doe may have actually been assaulted and murdered by a female assailant as opposed to a male. This theory was initially suggested by a journalist named Mike Hargraves, who based his assumption upon the fact that no semen was found upon or within the body of Walker County Jane Doe or at the actual crime scene, and that the only sexual assault conclusively proven to be committed upon the girl was performed by aggressively forcing an object or objects into her body orifices. Hargraves elaborated his theory by stating that men who commit crimes of sexual nature are typically known to bite their victims upon sensitive areas of the body as opposed to the shoulder, as had occurred in this case. The act of male perpetrators of murders committed with sexual motivation, occasionally collecting souvenirs from their victims, was also noted to be inconsistent with this case, as the necklace the girl had worn was still present on her body. However, the fact that it is unknown if Walker County Jane Doe had worn other items of jewelry at the time of her murder, and that her ears were pierced, yet earlobes held no earrings, may negate this portion of Hargrave's theory. Furthermore, most of the girl's clothing was missing from the crime scene. Possibility exists that Walker County Jane Doe may have been murdered by the same perpetrator identified who identified the murder victim known as Orange Socks, who was murdered almost exactly a year before Walker County Jane Doe, and whose body was found in Georgetown, Texas. Serial killer Henry Lee Lucas has been named as a possible suspect in the case, although the bite mark found upon the girl's shoulder was inconsistent with Lucas's dentistry. No prime suspects have been named in this murder, although police have considered the possibility the victim was murdered by a serial killer. In 2017, theory arose that Walker County Jane Doe may have been killed by the same perpetrator known to have murdered 3 females in 1980, whose bodies were discarded along Interstate 45. Only one of those 4 victims has been identified, and all 4 had been strangled. All 4 victims had been described by investigators as high-risk victims. One of these females, aged between 20 and 30, was located on October the 15th in Houston. She was a black female with possible Asian heritage and had died months prior to the discovery of her body. The second female was also black. Her body was discovered beneath a bridge in Houston. She was aged between 16 and 26 at the time of her murder. Outside of these few other cases, few and very little evidence has been collected outside of that. And this case still has a lot of factors that are still kind of being held in. So Keep under note. We'll see if anything comes out within the next year or so, if they reveal any DNA that was found on the boots or anything they've found since, studying with, more modern DNA technology in the last couple of years. So with all that said, let's take a couple seconds to give a moment of silence for Walker County Jane Doe, and hoping that one day we're able to close the door and give this girl the name she deserves. All right, well, everyone, that about does it. Please, like I said, feel free to throw your opinion, in this case, down below in the comments, and throw me a like, subscribe, and I'll be back with even more content tomorrow. Till then, talk to you soon.